Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2. I'm Allie and I identify as asexual. Today we're going to be talking about our personal experiences of growing up asexual. I'm joined by Dana and Kitty.
Hey!
Hello!
Alright, you people introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Dana. I totally exist.
She's the podcast ghost.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm around.
Yes.
I am Kitty. I am the local neighborhood-friendly space ace and cat mom.
Alright, so I think we should give the audience a little bit of more about us because we're all very different ages, quite different demographics.
Yes.
I'm still in high school, so I'm quite young.
Baby.
Yes.
I just turned 34 on the last day of August. I'm the old lady.
I'm 19, just out of university, because I only did university for a year. Yeah.
Kitty, are you a Gen X or are you a millennial?
I believe I'm Gen X. I was born in 1986, so I came up in the 90s.
And Dana and I are both Gen Z. Alright then. Like I said, I'm in high school, and I first heard of the word asexual when I was 11, which a few years ago now. And
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this in the first episode as well, where it was mentioned offhandedly and I didn't bother to research it, just didn't at the time for some reason. But I think I've always been ace, even without a word to describe it, because in school, when I actually still had to go to school in person, people would just make the same jokes over and over and over and over again. It drove me nuts because repetition to that extent just became super boring, but somehow they still found it funny, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I still remember being just, ugh.
With some things, repetition is fine. Like, I've probably heard the same stories about when my mom was a teenager and was breaking and training her horses and funny shit would happen. I've probably heard those 10 billion times growing up.
Mhm.
And I don't mind rehearing them. With jokes, though?
Yeah.
See, I grew up in a family where you retell jokes forever. You retell funny stories that are kind of embarrassing forever. And so I kind of have a weird perception of, yeah, of course you'll hear the same joke 20 times. That's just how life is.
Yeah, but it's the same joke by everyone, all the time, forever.
Yeah, kind of like
This is true.
I don't know if you guys were active on the internet when this occurred, like the fucking Chuck Norris jokes.
Oh,
There was
yeah,
a
you
span
could've
of
got, like, a lot
time,
out of that.
especially since I'm a video gamer, and at the time that the Chuck Norris craze was at its height, I was specifically playing World of Warcraft with some friends, and legitimately, anywhere you went in the game, general chat was just Chuck Norris joke after Chuck Norris joke after Chuck Norris joke, unless you went to the Barons chat, and then it was edgy 12-year-olds making horrifying remarks. They used to sell t-shirts that said I survived Barons chat because of how absolutely horrific and ridiculous that one zone of the game was.
Oh no. Yeah, but like even with the Chuck Norris stuff, that gets old after a little bit.
I only saw the remnants of Chuck Norris, but I saw like a year ago in a teacher up on a teacher's wall a Chuck Norris joke about how Chuck Norris doesn't need to follow grammar rules, but you do. Last year.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I guarantee you during that whole gigantic, like almost worldwide craze about making frickin' Chuck Norris jokes, I guarantee you she probably had at least 30 different students make a ridiculous joke about Chuck Norris not having to follow grammar rules, that grammar rules have to follow Chuck Norris.
Yeah, probably.
And finally just got to the point where she was like, just point at the sign when they say dumb crap like that, and they're just like,
But that
That might
out
be true.
towards the hallways. But yeah, it was still like, what? Why is this here now?
Yeah, I can imagine when, especially when it comes to like sex joke, that I have one of those. It doesn't get repeated ridiculously often around my house. It's more when someone new shows up and they haven't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell it on this podcast though, because it's
No.
it's incredibly it is funny, but it's also like very inappropriate.
See, I avoided that, the being around sex jokes a lot, by A, having no friends, and when I got friends that wouldn't talk about sex and things.
Technically, this joke is about a marital aid, which is a fancy term for dildo.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want, I'll tell it to you later, but I don't think it's appropriate to include in the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll wait till later.
Yeah.
Shall Allie keep telling her story?
Okay, so like Dana, you said that you didn't surround yourself with people who talked about this stuff, but my issue was that my group of friends I've known these people some of them since elementary school.
Yeah. See, that's the advantage of having no friends till middle school. It was a very sad child.
So it just ended up, I'm stuck with this group that are, for some reason, they're just hypersexual or whatever.
Yeah.
So, because
it just becomes kind of awkward. I zone out whenever they start talking about this stuff, or I try to veer the conversation back to what it's supposed to be, because they make those remarks when we're trying to discuss something serious for like a club or whatever as well. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But also, I think if you ask any of my school friends, they would just call me a nerd, smart, whatever. So I guess it kind of works out, because I suppose I fit the stereotype in that sense. I very much fit the stereotype of just a school and absolutely nothing else. I came across the word asexual again about 3 months ago on Reddit.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Reddit's good for stuff like that.
Yeah, like, people bag on about Reddit, but if you avoid the bad places, then there's some really good content out there.
Like r/exclusion.
Found r/asexuality. I asked a few questions, read a few posts, and then, oh, this is me, and wow, that was such a light bulb moment. I was very happy about that. I didn't have the struggle of debating back and forth as much as I've heard some other people have. It was very easy for me to just, here, this is my label now. And I came out to a close friend about a few hours later, because I was just that comfortable. And I'm still that comfortable today, so I'm very lucky.
I was pretty lucky in that regard too, that like when I did stumble across the definition, I was just like, oh, well, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had that I came across it and I went, yeah, that's me. And then I felt too uncomfortable to tell anyone for like a year.
Oh.
That was fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely not comfortable enough to tell most of my friends at this point either.
It takes time.
Kind of still gauging where, like, I know one of my friends is really supportive of LGBTQ and she's a pretty big advocate, but I've also never heard her mention asexuality, like, explicitly ever. So at the same time, it's like, I don't really want to bring it up, because this might be a little bit weird. I think all my friends just expect me to be default straight, perfectly normal.
Yeah.
And I'm very much straight passing since I'm hetero-romantic. So, like, it's safe to be in the closet. It's not bad to be in the closet if it's unsafe to come out.
Very true.
So I'm fine with being in the closet for the time being.
Even that, I think people shouldn't be pushed to come. It should only, even if they are safe and they're not comfortable, I don't think they should be pushed.
Yeah, no.
Don't ever out someone.
No.
The worst thing ever.
And don't pressure people to come out until they're ready, because even if it's perfectly safe for them to come out and they just don't feel comfortable doing it yet.
Yeah. That's a valid reason not to come out.
Pressuring someone into doing something that, for whatever reason, they do not feel prepared to do is traumatic in its own right. Even if they follow your advice and come out and everything goes perfectly smoothly for them, all that anxiety and worry and I'm not personally ready to do this will have a negative impact on them. Just let them do things in their own damn time.
Yeah. Although, I think some people do need that kind of, I want to, but I'm not really ready, and if you give them a push, then sometimes it does work out pretty well.
There's a difference, there's a difference between supportively encouraging them. I think it'll go fine, and, you know, I've got your back and whatnot, and just, like, badgering them and pressuring them, and you should do it, you should do it, you should do it, until they just cave.
Awful.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess, as being ace, we're not really wired to think of sex 24/7. I really don't think owls think of sex 24/7, but they definitely seem to be more inclined than we do. And my friends make so many innuendos all the time. Sometimes they're more vague, sometimes they're less vague. It kills me.
Part of that is also being, your brain doesn't fully finish developing, like, people think puberty ends like once you're out of your teens. Strictly speaking, it doesn't fully wrap up and complete itself until you're like 25. That's when your brain finally finishes developing and is kind of set in its way. So being that you're still in high school, you're all still very, very hormonal, shifting in development type. So it doesn't surprise me that your friend group seems just obsessed with it, because they're they're all still in that place where those are the hormones that their brains and their bodies are constantly flooding them with. I have definitely noticed that teenagers seem to be more focused on, because one, they don't really know much about it, or they shouldn't.
Well, I mean, I think that's, people know plenty this day and age, even if they're too young to know.
But they're not in a place where, even if they've been partaking of sexual activity, they still don't really have the wherewithal to properly comprehend it and like unpack everything that goes into it. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I've taken psychology courses in college and I find the subject fascinating, but I am by no means a psychologist or a doctor. So these are just my personal
Yeah, that kind of sums it up.
Ow, I just stabbed myself in the eye.
Don't do that. You need those.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying.
Yes.
They talk about it a lot. So I've kind of forced wired my brain to just kind of think one step ahead. So
yeah,
I guess I'm better at catching the jokes now. I really hate the fact that I have to actively try to think ahead.
Yeah.
It's exhausting in a sense. I mean,
potentially,
at least I don't make a fool out of myself.
Potentially, I mean, even if you don't feel comfortable coming out to them, you could maybe just be like, hey, can you guys, like, tone it down a little bit just because it makes me very uncomfortable? Or are you worth I'll take the piss out of you for it?
It's like 5 against 1. So I feel like I'm
well,
going to lose that fight.
I'm
I'm very non-confrontational.
Yeah.
So am I. So am I.
I am also. Yeah.
But I mean, it might not hurt to just bring it up.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I mean,
I'll consider it. If it gets really bad, then
if they're good friends and they, actually care about, the people around them also being comfortable and happy, they'll at least consider it. Hopefully.
My friend group,
but teenagers and hormones
didn't swear throughout high school because my one friend didn't like it. All of us swear a lot, but we didn't swear in front of her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it's good people.
Yeah,
very good people.
Even if everyone else is good with it, you gotta make sure everyone's comfortable.
Yeah,
right. That's true. I don't like asking people for favors. I like doing things just on my own. Just don't involve other people.
Oh, I
don't
totally
them.
get that.
I absolutely understand that, but I'm very much the person, you come up to me and you go, hey, how you doing? I could be literally dying and I will tell you I'm fine.
Yeah.
Now, god damn it. My son is clawing at the door. Fur child.
Fur babies.
Fur child, stop it.
I love fur children.
What are you doing? I love him too. He's adorable, but he's a furry pain in the ass. Sorry about that.
That's all good.
I know that a lot of aces have, before they find this label, they feel very broken. And I don't think that's something I can necessarily relate to in full. Because I never thought I was broken, because I thought everyone else was also ace.
Yeah, I just thought everyone else was joking.
I always perceived myself as normal. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just also one big elaborate scheme, which is honestly highly improbable, but at the time, I just kind of thought everyone else was really weird. And I didn't understand why society was obsessed with sex, because they're obsessed with it, yet they refuse to talk about it directly. And it's kind of taboo, but at the same time, apparently everyone wants it, and they gloat about it, and it's just like, it's very contradictory.
Yeah.
And it confuses me.
Yay, religion.
Yeah, that's also part of it, although I'm atheist, so I know nothing about religion either.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff comes from religion.
Yep.
Does it? We're planning to do an episode about religion, and I am looking forward to that, because I need to learn things.
We're probably gonna have to do several episodes, different religions, because different religions are very different and have different effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that mini-series that we're gonna have.
The religion I subscribe to and the way I was raised by my mother is very live and let live.
Yeah. Who's next?
Okay, so I never really thought about, like, I can't, elementary and middle school are combined to me, so I can't tell you. I'm just gonna say middle school. It could have been elementary school. It's all in the same building. It's the same thing. But yeah, I didn't have, like, good friends ever, because this way my school worked was kids would come for a single year and then leave. And so I never, like, I talked to people and I occasionally got invited to parties and things, but I didn't have like a solid group of friends.
Yeah.
And so I occasionally, it would be like, oh, who's your crush, Dana? And like, if we were at a birthday party and we're playing Truth or Dare, and I was always like, I don't have one, and they didn't believe me. So I just kind of thought about it for a while, and everyone had crushes on this one guy, and he was very nice, and I wanted to be his friend. So I was like, oh, that's what a crush is. It's not. Okay. And so I started saying I have a crush on him.
Child logic.
Yeah. And then the other girls started joking about how they wanted to kiss him, and I went, what? And just assumed they were joking, because that's how my brain worked. It's like, oh yeah, it's just them joking. Why would you want to kiss someone?
Right.
Fun detail about myself. I did not realize that it wasn't a normal Christian thing till not kiss till marriage till I was 13, because I never thought about it. One of my cousins told me that when I kissed a boy when I was 3, and I just went, okay, that makes sense. That would be why they kissed during the wedding. Alright, yep. This makes sense to me. And then when I was in grade 8, a group came in to talk about intentional dating bullshit. And they were like, yeah, we don't kiss till marriage.
Intentional?
And
what the fuck is intentional dating?
They only go on group dates. They never kiss, they never spend time alone together.
But you would do those things with a friend, though. You'd spend time, just the two of you, if you're friends.
I don't get it. It's to make sure you don't got to do the sex, so you're also not allowed to kiss.
Okay.
I didn't, whatever. But yeah, that's what
So basically super virgin dating.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And
Cool.
so
Good
that's
to
what
know.
my brain went, oh yeah, that makes sense that that's not a normal thing. I have seen people kiss. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay, so I was 13 before I realized that. But when I was 15, end of grade 9, I still hadn't really thought about all this stuff. And then I was chatting with a friend, and they told me they were demi, and explained what that was. And I went, oh, I think I might be that too. And so I went home and started Googling, and quickly realized, oh yeah, I'm ace. Yeah, I'm definitely just asexual. And then I spent, as I said earlier, about a year just being like, yes, I'm ace, but not being comfortable in my identity. Just being like, am I faking it? Is this actually what I'm feeling? Am I just a late bloomer? And not telling anyone. And about a year goes by, and at that point, I kind of started telling my close friends and just telling people, and made some LGBT friends, and that was nice. And when I was 17, I guess, I was just watching a movie with my brother, and I was really fucking bored. It wasn't a good movie. And so I went, I wonder if there's any ace Discord servers. So I looked it up and came across CAD, the chill sexual Discord. It's now gone. I'm still in it, but all the servers, you're not allowed to text in them. And so it's become, all the people from there went to the Ace Cafe. That's what the Ace Cafe, it came from CAD. And so I went there and I started talking with people and I started making friends, and I spent like a month just constantly in the call, because there was a couple of us that at that point were just constantly talking to each other, and I made good friends with them, and I started becoming involved in the asexual culture. And of course, eventually I kind of faded out with that. I go on less. I talk to them like once every month, but it's for a while I was there constantly. I made a lot of friends. I've met up with some of them in real life, like,
oh wow,
yeah,
that'd be fun.
I made some good friends, and it was nice, and I started feeling more comfortable with my identity, and the community is wonderful. I love them.
Visibility is so important.
Yeah, when you start talking about it, then
it makes you feel a lot better. It makes it feel a lot more real.
Something I've also found with that group chat is literally every person that talks on there has at some point come on going, I'm really upset about this. No one understands how I'm feeling. Like, literally everyone. And we just talk about it, and it's really nice. And everyone has these same experiences of, but, like, I don't want to be ace, or I don't feel like I'm actually ace, or yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I never had the I don't want to be ace thing. I think I'm very happy with being ace.
Oh, generally
And
I
not
am. But I've
having
had little
this
times where it's
distracting
like,
thing.
I don't want to be different than society because I want to fit in.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
I
wanna
definitely have not had the I don't want to be ace thing, but then again, I also have a wildly different experience.
Oh yeah, but everyone has struggles with it. Like, even if they're not, like, it's just your brain being an asshole, but...
I guess maybe it's with everything else that goes on in my life in terms of, like, my physical health and whatnot, that's such a low thing on the totem pole that my brain just ignores it 90% of the time.
Yeah. I'm also, at this point, I'm good most of the time. I've been ace, I am ace, I know I'm ace, I'm definitely not faking it. This is, like...
Yeah.
My crushes are not, that's not what an actual crush is. Like, it doesn't...
Although, the crushes thing, you're Aero. That's an Aero thing, not an ace thing. I'm ace, and I do get crushes.
Yes, but there's still... it's still... I have this... It's like, that is just... It's a platonic crush, Dana. You're still ace Aero.
Squishes.
It's a platonic crush. Like, you really want to be friends with them. And I see that.
Yeah.
That does not mean you're not ace. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Alright, then let's move on to Kitty.
Oh boy, here we go. This gonna be fun. This might take a while because...
Yeah, I kind of see that in the document.
There's 34 years worth of stuff here. I pretty much, from the time, like, puberty kicked in and hormones started kicking off and the very few friends that I had went, boy and or girl crazy, whichever it was, I was always just kind of the one sitting off to the side being like, okay, you say so. I was able to objectively look at, like, the people they were banging on about and being like, yeah, okay, they're attractive. I don't see why you need to obsess over them the way you are, and can you please stop talking about wanting to, like, eat their face with your own. I could live without hearing about how you want to make out with them. I spent pretty much my teens and the majority of my 20s, pretty much all of them, assuming that my complete disinterest in romance and sex was another side effect of my brain not being wired right. Because I also fall on the autistic spectrum. So I just kind of was like, it's another way that my brain doesn't function, quote unquote, normally. Although really, what even is normal? People bang on about something being normal, and it's like, well, how do you define what normal is when every single person is completely individual, has a completely individual experience in life? No two people on the planet have brains that work the exact same way, so to me, normal is completely overused, and it's kind of a nothing word in a way. But I'm getting off topic. I've never been sex repulsed or vehemently against dating and relationships. It just, I'm completely disinterested. So for most of my teenage years, it was like, people are actively trying to find a partner and whatnot, and I was kind of the one being like, if it happens, it happens. I don't really care. I never myself asked a person out. Every single relationship I have been in the past, that person came to me and was like, hey, do you want to date me? Do you want to be my girlfriend? Do you want to be whatever? And generally these were people that I had like a long-term friendship with. I knew them very well. I cared about them as a human being, and when they would ask me, I'd be like, sure, why not? Because when I was growing up, you had heterosexual and homosexual, and those were the two. And there was kind of a gray area in the middle that was bisexual, where they didn't really care. They liked either or. Regardless of where you fell, you were expected to find a partner, get married, do the thing. So when people that I cared about would come to me and be like, hey, do you want to date me? I'd be like, no, not really, but sure. I was always perfectly happy to just remain friends with them. But, the world expects you to find a person and do the thing, so I was like, okay, well, sure, let's give it a go. I'd basically been conditioned by the world to believe that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
Between
You shouldn't.
No, you really shouldn't.
Dating shouldn't be a thing you have to
Yeah,
opt
yeah.
out of. It should be something you opt in. And most people do opt in.
Yeah.
But if you refuse to, or you don't want to, that there shouldn't be a problem.
I mean, realistically, it was essentially just more of the same relationship that I already had with them, with just a couple of extra steps attached.
Yeah.
We still hung out and were goofy people together.
Yeah.
We still went out and ate. It's just now also we sleep in the same bed, and there's like a couple other expectations added on. And thankfully, because I've never been a person that was sex repulsed, it was just kind of a thing that existed that I didn't really care about. Like it was it was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, relationships never worked out. Between my mental issues with some of the mental health problems that I have, my physical health issues, which kicked in when I was 19, chronic pain issues that are kind of genetic and run in my family, came running up on me and went, boo, bitch! And then my underlying kind of quote-unquote undiagnosed asexualness, it never worked out.
Yeah.
Eventually it just came to a point where it was so incredibly emotionally and mentally draining for me to, I'm very much like a people pleaser. I'm very much the type of person that will put someone else's needs above my own. So being in a romantic type relationship with someone else would basically be however many months or years of me being like hyper focused on their needs and paying very little attention to my own. And after 2 or more years, it would just get to a point where it was so mentally and emotionally draining that I was just like, this cannot continue to go on. And I've had a couple of exes who were very definitely on the abusive spectrum, so that didn't help.
Oh, no.
It took one of my younger friends pointing out to me that at the time, her dad was one of our old neighbors, and she and I just kind of hit it off. I tend to get along very well with people younger than me because essentially my brain developmentally is still in that same like teens, early 20s headspace. So like 15 to 20-ish, I tend to get along with people in that age range very well because from their perspective, I don't act like a typical person my age. I act more like them. I tend to think more similarly to them, so they tend to latch on to me as that like cool big sister type person, which is fine by me. At the time, the person I was engaged to was away on like a business trip, something for work, and we were playing Minecraft online. She pointed out to me that I seemed far happier than usual when he wasn't there or wasn't around. My mom happened to be in the room at the time, and she made the same comment. So I kind of stopped and I thought about it for the rest of the time that he was away, and it just kind of, it came to my attention of, oh yeah, they're right. Literally every time I've been single, I'm always far happier than I am anytime I'm in a relationship. I tend to be more at peace. I'm more, the things that make me who I am and the things that I enjoy doing with my time tend to get left by the wayside anytime I've tried to have a relationship. So when he got home, we like split up on mutual terms because at that point we were basically like glorified roommates anyway. His mom had just lost a long battle with cancer and passed away. Then my granddad got hit by an incredibly aggressive, incredibly fast-moving cancer and had passed away himself. We had moved from the house I had lived in since I was 8 years old into my grandmother's house because we didn't think it was fair to ask a 70-plus-year-old woman to learn how to live alone. And it was just, there was a huge disconnect in the relationship where it was basically just like, we didn't really talk or really hang out or anything. It was just like, oh, hey, see you later, you know? So we mutually split up on good terms. Everything was fine there. And that same younger friend, some months earlier, had come out to me as being gender fluid, and I had no idea what the hell that meant. She explained it to me, but, you know, 15, 16-year-old girl explanation of it, I was still a little bit like, say what? So I was looking into, I was like doing my own homework and research on what being gender fluid, non-binary, etc., was. And I found this website that was literally just like all the currently recognized sexualities and gender identities. And of course, asexual was on that list, and I'm reading it, and I've seen people describe it as a light bulb moment. For me, it was not so much like a light bulb came on, it was like a crazed tap dancing vaudeville act just barged into my head with this huge, like, sandwich board sign, the type you wear, that just said, like, congratulations, you're asexual, and was just tap dancing through my head, singing at me. It was like, oh, I remember distinctly. I think it's probably because of my age and just kind of my general personality and the life I've led, where I stopped giving a crap what the world thought of me around like 15, by and large. I fell face first into goth, and I didn't really care anymore at that point what people thought of how I dressed and how I behaved.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. I got up off of my bed. I have my phone in my hand with what I've been reading. I walked into the living room and I looked at my mother and I was like, it's come to my attention that I am asexual. Mom looked up at me from her lunch. She went, oh, cool. And she went back to what she was doing. And that was my coming out.
She knew what it was. She didn't have to do any explaining.
She came to me a couple hours later and she asked me to, like, she had the overall idea just from the name.
Yeah.
We're both very literary people. We both took Latin classes and learned how, like, the etymology of words and whatnot. So she kind of looked at me for a second and I could kind of see her, like, breaking the word down in her head. And she was just like, oh, cool. If that's what makes you happy, honey. And she went back to her lunch. She came to me like a couple hours later when we got done doing like yard work or something, and she, you know, asked me like the finer points of it, and I pulled up the little thing I'd been reading and went over it. And of course it had demisexuality like as a bullet point under asexuality with a couple of others. And when I was going over them, she was like, oh shit, I think I fall into that too. So we both learned some new things that day. So far, the people that I, like, keep close to me and I surround myself with have been very accepting and supportive. I don't think my aunt's down the road, like, no, because it's never come up.
Yeah, I know I after a while got to the point where it's like, if they don't like it, then do I want their friendship?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
I'm at this point in my life, and with all the craptastic friends I've had over the course of my life, I've gotten to the point where I have, like, certain criteria where, you know, if you cross certain boundary lines and over, like, anything, I'm just like, yep, and I do not need you around. Goodbye.
I think it's important to have those limitations with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you people around you are being jerks, then just don't interact with them.
Yeah. I don't think my Aunt Marion and my Aunt Kathy know officially. Aunt Kathy would not. Aunt Kathy is a gigantic pothead who is very much like, if it makes you happy, you do what you want to do. Like, very hippie from the 60s, even though she was like 7 years old at that point. But that's kind of the mind frame she has. I think Marion is really the only person who would maybe frown on it, but she frowns on everything. She's just very annoyed cat face type person. All the crazy that I've experienced comes from online and from people that I met like for 5 minutes 10 plus years ago. There was one lunatic from the goth club that I used to frequent who messaged me out of the blue, basically asking me if I wanted to be like friends with benefits with him, and I was like, well, no, because I'm asexual.
I've also had that.
Which he took to mean I didn't want a relationship, and proceeded to be like, well, we don't have to date or anything. It would just be sex. I was like, no, dude, asexual means I don't want sex at all. And if for some crazy reason I did, they make sex toys for a reason. He also did other creepy things that we're not gonna get into here. But yeah.
Yeah, I've had one random guy just ask me if I wanted to like send nudes to each other. And I was like, not particularly. And he went, oh, are you a lesbian? And I went, no. I'm
an ace.
Yeah. And then he decided to ask me if I masturbate, which is like, I just met you. I don't. No, I'm not having this conversation
That's
with
not
you.
an appropriate question at all.
Also, I think he called me a bitch at some point. I don't know. It with a weird interaction.
First of all, it's none of your goddamn business if I diddle myself. That's between me and my vagina. And secondly, are you high?
Yeah, I don't know what was happening there. I didn't get it. It was odd.
He was wound up for some reason, and he wanted to have a dirty conversation with someone, and he wants to use jollies on my body.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
But courtesy of, like, the internet and people who do not know me, like, hardly at all, that's where I've gotten all the lovely typicals of, you just haven't found the right person, or you haven't found somebody who will do it right. And I'm like,
people in real life haven't been that bad.
People say crazy crap over the internet because
my mother
behind a screen
cried for 3 days and made me talk to my doctor about it. But that wasn't great. But she's gotten over that now. And my doctor is wonderful and went, how is that a problem? That seems nice.
That's a great doctor.
God bless your doctor.
I very much like him. Mm-hmm. He's also very thorough. If I need, like, if something's wrong, he doesn't ignore issues. Yeah. He's great. I love him.
That's good. But yeah, that you just haven't found someone who does it right. And it's like, I have been in a number of relationships.
Yeah.
I've been physically intimate with multiple people over my past, and a good half of those people were pretty skilled. It still doesn't impact it any. Sex is still okay. Yeah, and just because, like, they make it sound almost like if you find a person that you can be physically intimate with who can, like, guarantee that you'll have an orgasm, somehow that will change the way your brain is wired to perceive the act itself. And it's like, no, it really doesn't. It's still kind of a meh. Okay, whatever for me. Yeah, that was nice for the 0.15 seconds it went on. You know? But not to mention with my physical health problems, the brief pleasure the act provides is not worth the amount of physical pain and recovery I'm going to have to go through over the next few days, overworking my body in that regard. So, little bitty payoff for a lot of pain and suffering later. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
My personal favorite was having a woman I have never met before in my life in the grocery store tell me, I have Snuff, my hand puppet dragon that I take with me when I go out in public because he helps with my anxiety. He's basically like a buffer.
Yeah.
Talk to the dragon, I'll be over here, you know? A lot of people make the assumption that I like to do kids' parties and such because I have a fucking puppet. I don't really understand the correlation, but whatever. And I guess because of, I mean, I don't look my age. I constantly get mistaken for someone much younger, but I guess just, she kind of made the assumption that I had kids. She was like, oh, I bet your kids love that. And I'm like, I don't have children. Don't plan on having any children. I mean, I have cats, but I don't want to have children. And she kind of looked at me like I was from Mars for a second and was like, why not? And I explained to her, you know, I have a bunch of genetic health problems that cause me to live in constant pain that I am beyond. It's completely unfair to knowingly pass that on. Also, I'm aromantic and asexual. I don't want a partner. I don't have a drive to be physically intimate. This woman, who does not even know my name, proceeded to look at me and tell me that I would never have a fulfilling life without a partner and children. I beg to differ with you. I bet my life is a lot more fulfilling than yours because I'm free to pursue my wants and desires without having to juggle the needs of other people and make sure that I'm not decimating or negatively impacting their lives. I'm a free bitch. I can do what I want without having to be like, hey honey, do you mind if I do this? You know?
Yeah.
And of course, I've gotten the internet strangers who are like, what are you, some kind of robot? No.
We asked a story thing on our Instagram a while ago. Yeah. If you want to follow our Instagram, it's at knightsofknope, and the handles will be in the description.
Absolutely.
Shameless self-plug there. From Evie. She asked.
Oh, no, it is Eve.
Evie?
No,
Eve.
I'm sorry. It's
There's a lot
Eve.
of Eves. Eve. _000. She asked, ever got the feeling of uncertainty about your aceness, even if you're sure that you are?
Yeah.
We addressed that one,
we've talked about that one a bit, definitely.
I've never had that. But I think that's also probably partly due to the fact that I kind of operated under the assumption for the majority of my life that I was allosexual and heterosexual, and I attempted to make that work. And I'm at a point in my life now where it's just kind of like, oh no, that's not a thing. Like, so I've never had that uncertainty of, oh, am I sure I'm right here? I'm like, no, I have the life experience to know that in fact that is absolutely what's going on, because I've tried the other and it did not work.
Yeah.
For me, like, I get having uncertainty because
I can
you identify
absolutely
through not feeling something.
Yeah.
You're not feeling, but you don't know what it feels like.
Yeah.
So you don't know that you're not feeling it because you don't know what it
whole,
feels like.
Do you know the comic of looking for frogs in a pond? And there could be frogs.
Oh, it's like, yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing. And it's great.
I have not seen that. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I vaguely know what you're talking of.
I can definitely understand other aces who don't have the same kind of background that some of the older aces that have attempted to live an allosexual life are like, sometimes I'm not actually sure if I am ace, maybe I just haven't found the right person. You know, they're very uncertain about it, particularly when you're young.
Yeah.
And you've not had the same experiences that like someone like me has had. So I can absolutely understand where you guys are coming from with that.
When you're 15, when you figure it out and you see all those, you're just the late bloomer comments. That's not great.
Yeah.
No.
I get that internally as well because I said,
feel
in high school, could be a late bloomer. I don't know. But I feel ace right now. Label fits me now.
I also feel like there's the whole thing of there's a certain amount of attitude of if you say you're ace, you're not allowed to later realize you're not.
Yeah, which is absolutely untrue.
That's not true. You're allowed to. That's being in the community and then realizing maybe you're gray or something and not fully ace, or maybe
particularly
maybe you were a late bloomer, which I don't think is really much of a thing.
No, I don't think so.
It's perfectly fine to change what you define yourself
change
as.
your labels. Yeah.
It's you.
It's a word.
It's what feels most comfortable at the time. If it makes you happy, then it's fine to take the label. Like,
especially when you're young and, you know, your brain isn't fully locked into what it's going to be. It's still developing. You're still discovering things about yourself. Yeah. If you change,
be open to change.
If you never change your labels, great, good for you.
Yeah.
If you change it 200 times, it doesn't really matter as long as you get to the right answer in the end and you find an answer that makes sense to you and is like, oh yes, this is how I am, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and it helps you live your life effectively and happy.
And don't shame people for wanting if they change. If they come out to you and you go, no, but you change your mind in the future and it's all condescending and stuff. Because change is growth. And growth is good.
Yes.
So if you're shaming someone for changing, then
people learn new things about themselves every day. Even people who are very comfortable with the labels they place on their gender identity and their sexual orientation, they still learn new things about themselves constantly.
Yes.
It's just that maybe there's not a highly controversial label that's applied to it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We have a few more questions to get through. Vienna asks, have you guys ever felt that you're faking your sexuality for attention? I know I have.
No.
Kind of ties in with the previous question.
Yeah.
I have not. I think, and I've seen this being said on the internet as well, if you think that you're faking for attention, you're probably not.
Right?
Because the people who are faking for attention know that they're faking for attention.
I've had those thoughts of like, but like, what if I'm just trying to make myself special? Like, what if I don't know why my brain's just mean to me? It's not true in any way.
Self-doubt. Yeah,
my brain's just a bitch.
Self-doubt is a horrible little goblin, and she's also a whore. She likes to pass herself around to every human on the planet. She attacks various parts of there's literally, if you find a person on the planet who hasn't had a visit from self-doubt and her nasty little goblinness, chances are they're probably a horrifying narcissist and you should run away from them as fast as you fucking can.
Yeah. Well said.
Any normal, quote-unquote, normal, healthy, well-adjusted person has at some point in their life on probably a multitude of subjects had self-doubt come shimmying in her fun little party dress and go, and dig around in their brain and fuck up their day.
Yeah. Alright, one more question. From a person who would like to stay anonymous. What is the most flamboyant and dramatic way you can think of to come out? Oh gosh. I don't have an input because I am not out to most people. So.
The most flamboyant and dramatic way I could think of to come out, not how I did it.
Yeah.
You could legitimately go hide in a closet with like 20 pounds of glitter. Black glitter, purple glitter, gray silver glitter, some spangly white glitter, and just like put it all into a huge effing bag.
Oh.
And like text your family, text the people you want to come out to and whatnot, and kind of get them to gather near the closet. And once you're aware that they're all there, kick the door open, come sliding out like dirty. I don't know what the hell was the name of that movie with Tom Cruise where he went like sliding across the living room floor in his sock.
I don't know.
I can't think of it right now, but you know, just come sliding out of the closet in your socks and just empty the entire bag of glitter into the air and just be like, I'm asexual! And just shower them in 20 pounds of Technicolor glitter.
See, you've got more extreme than I was thinking. I was just thinking, bake a nice cake that's the rainbow flag. It's not super flamboyant, but I feel like it's more of a reasonable level of flamboyant. Like...
Or, you know, put on like a drag queen level show where you get all done up and like have a little dance number and
The glitter may cause issues for you in the future, but
it's the herpes of the craft world. It's gonna take you 400 years to clean it up, but it is definitely flamboyant and dramatic.
This is true.
That's true.
But if you're gonna do that, I would use that much glitter. Try go for some biodegradable glitter. Don't do tiny pieces of plastic.
I definitely don't suggest taking my advice and doing that.
No, but
it's
if you're
going
to do anything with a lot of glitter that you're going to throw around, use biodegradable glitter.
And do it.
As a matter of fact, I would actually probably suggest that you get like paper confetti in the
that's probably smarter.
Colors.
Yeah.
It won't stick to everything. It's not the herpes of the craft world. It won't take you 4,000 years of finding it somehow still attached to everything in your life.
You won't leave your house glittery every day.
Looking at the bottom of a new pair of shoes you got 15 years after the glitter event going, what the fuck, how did the glitter get on these?
Yeah, exactly. Alright, shall we say goodbye?
Yep.
Goodbye.
We're very awkward people. So see you guys in the next one.
Feel free to email us suggestions for episodes, questions, anything like that.
Otherwise, be good or be good at it.
A Casual Exchange was created by the Knights of Nope. Hosted by Allie. Produced and edited by Dana. Special thanks to our guests, Dana and Kitty. All music used can be found in the description.